Hello, everyone. Jose and Nick here, coming back to you from Moneyline MMA. We have another week of exciting fights. We have UFC Fight Night, Alexa Grasso versus Viviana Araujo. This fight is taking place at the UFC Apex Center in Las Vegas, Nevada on Saturday, October 15th at 6 p.m. South Central District Time. This fight is Alexa Grasso, who's ranked number 5, versus Viviana Araujo, who's ranked number 6. Right now, Alexa Grasso is the betting favorite at minus 215, while Viviana Araujo is the betting underdog at plus 164. Right now, Alexa Grasso, she is the betting favorite, as so she's coming off a 3-fight winning streak over the likes of Ji Yeon Kim, Macy Barber, and Joanne Wood, while Viviana Araujo has coming off a one fight winning streak right now against Andrea Lee. Before that, she had a loss to Caitlin Chokakian, and she lost via unanimous decision. I think this fight, to be straightforward, is Alexa Grasso is going to have it on the feet, Nick. I think the money line looks pretty accurate right now, as having her the betting favorite. What would you say?
Yeah, for sure. I think this is good matchmaking without a doubt. Not sure how much this event or this fight specifically, shows up to be as a main event of the card. But nonetheless, I think it's a great fight for women's MMA. I definitely lean Grasso here. She's the favorite because she's got a 3-fight win streak since moving up to flyweight. She got to fight Carla Esparza, got her, and it was a decision fight, majority decision. It kind of got her butt kicked got taken down 4 times. And since then, she's moved up and got a 3-fight win streak. So I get why she's the favorite here. I think it's going to be a tough fight nonetheless. But regardless, I think Grasso is going to be able to be the better striker here. Araujo is really good takedown wise and defending on the ground and grappling in general. So I don't anticipate that to be much of Grasso's game plan. We'll see. But regardless, neither of these girls are that big of a submission threat. I know Grasso just coming off a victory against Joanne Wood via submission, but I don't think that's really on the table against Araujo.
Yeah, I agree. I think this fight's definitely going to be a heavy striking contest. Alexa Grasso throws 4.92 significant strikes per minute, while Viviani throws 4.76 significant strikes per minute. And again, yeah, both have good takedown defense. If Viviani, she does have 4 submission wins on her record, so if she tries to sport it, I don't know how well they'll go against Alexa Grasso, because Alexa Grasso, from her last fight, has shown that she can put heavy top pressure and sit on top of you and out wrestle you now too. So even though she doesn't have the best jiu-jitsu, her grappling is good enough to, I think, put heavy pressure and get dominant positions. So overall, yeah, with this one, I take the favorite Alexa Grasso to win by unanimous decision.
Yeah, I definitely think unanimous decision is a great win method bet there. Personally, I won't be making that bet, but Grasso will be a part of the parlay. Now moving on to the co-main fight of the evening, we've got Jonathan Martinez fighting Cub Swanson at bantamweight. This is going to be interesting, Jose. Cub Swanson, a guy I'm excited to see come back into the ring. He is a plus 152 underdog against Jonathan Martinez, a minus 196 favorite on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Man, Cub Swanson dropping down 10 pounds. It's going to be fascinating to see this happen at bantamweight, but from what I've been hearing and seeing, he's been looking great from Instagram posts, this and that. As long as Cub Swanson can make this cut, Jose, and get through it and still be feeling pretty good. I don't know, man. He's the underdog here, but I think this is a crazy spot for a guy as good as he is. He just beat Darren Elkins at the end of last year, so it has been about 10, 11 months since he's fought. But man, Jose, I'm so curious to see what you think, because I kind of lean the underdog, I think.
No, I hear you. Yeah, Cub Swanson, I mean, he's a legend of the sport. And him moving down, even though he got a win over Darren Elkins his last fight, kind of surprises me, because as they get older, he's 38. He is 10 years older than Jonathan Martinez. And that being said, I feel like him moving down can be quite dangerous, especially because Jonathan Martinez is on a 3-fight winning streak right now. Regardless of the names, he riding a 3-fight winning streak and fighting now someone like Cub Swanson. It kind of feels like the UFC maybe feeding one like a legend to a guy they're testing out to see if he's going to be maybe you know worth pushing to the top 10 of the division or top five. So that being said, I can see why Cub Swanson is the underdog. Jonathan Martinez has quite a bit of experience, 15-4, and they both have identical reaches and both have a 70-inch reach. So and both throws about around the same amount of significant strikes per minute. Cub Swanson throws 4.66 while Jonathan Martinez throws 4.72. And in terms of grappling, yeah, I don't know. I don't think this will go much to the ground. So it's definitely gonna be a stand-up game. And I don't know. We haven't seen Cub Swanson really in this division before. And just given his age, being 10 years older, and again, Jonathan Martinez having a lot of experience, all those factors, the way I look at it, I'm going to have to go with the betting favorite in Jonathan Martinez, Nick.
Fair enough, man. I totally get that. And don't get me wrong, I certainly have some reservation in betting for on Cub Swanson here. And don't get me wrong, I will be betting I will be placing at least one bet on Cub Swanson underdog here. I don't want to put too much on it, but man, he's got so much experience in the ring. And the one thing that makes me a little nervous, I gotta admit, is the chin. I think he's going to be able to hold up. I'm not necessarily thinking that he's susceptible to being knocked out. He was knocked out by Giga Chikadze in 2021 in the first round too. But I mean, looking back previous to that, he's a guy that's very hard to knock out, and I think that's going to continue, man. So I would for sure say that if Cub Swanson wins this fight, it's going to be by decision. I really don't think he's going to be able to knock out Jonathan Martinez or anything like that. He'll have to be technical, and he'll have to be very strong, standing up pretty much on his feet. And we'll see how that works out. But I think I'm willing to take that bet. Cub Swanson specifically wins by decision. I'll put a small bet on that.
Yeah, I like that, Nick. I think that's why I'm gonna differ. I'm gonna go with Jonathan Martinez, the betting favorite with it for this one, and I'll take him. It's gonna be a high striking contest, but I think he's gonna pull off the unanimous decision win. So I'm gonna go with Jonathan Martinez, and that brings us over to our next fight of the night. We have a flyweight bout between the number 4 ranked Askar Askarov versus Brandon Ravel. Right now, Askar Askarov is the betting favorite at minus 250, while Brandon Ravel is the betting underdog at plus 190. Askar Askarov right now, he's actually coming off a loss to Kai Kara France. He lost by unanimous decision, while Brandon Royval, he's coming off 2 wins, one over Rogerio Bontorin and another one over Matt Schnell. He's won by split decision and submission in those 2 fights. And before that, he had a couple of losses. So that being said, though, he's coming off a 2-fight winning streak right now, while Askar Askarov losing one to Kai Kara France, which is a big name. Yeah, he's yet the betting favorite here, which I think is accurate as so. I think Askar Askarov, he's a top guy that can hang there. He's come on the short end of the stick to some fighters up there, but I think this one's a fight that he should get done. What are your thoughts, Nick?
Man, yet another great setup here on the UFC part, if you ask me. It's going to be so interesting to see the Raw Dog fighting the Bullet with a guy that's got a lot of submission and grappling abilities himself. Brandon Royval just came off a win in May against Matt Schnell, choked him out. I think this is going to be a real test for both of these guys. Coming from the perspective where a few months ago, one of our early shows here at Moneyline MMA, I won a lot of money betting on Kara France to beat Askarov as the underdog. He had a lot of hype. He's undefeated. Made a bunch of sense. That being said, Askarov is a phenomenal fighter, man, and I think this potentially could be the fight of the night here. To me, both of these guys have the similar abilities grappling and similar abilities striking. I don't know, man. It's really going to come down to Askar's ability to maybe stifle Royval. I feel like Royval's got a lot of submission threat, but I don't know if he's got as much of a control threat. So we'll see if Askar decides to just try and control the fight and stifle a lot of Royval's attempts. We'll see, man. But this is a really close fight, if you ask me.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Royval is has a huge submission threat. He does his out of his wins, out of his 14 wins, 9 of them are by submission, and I see that he does have a submission over Kai Kara France back at UFC 253 in 2020. So that does kind of like change my mind a bit. He does have also a submission triangle win over Tim Elliott. Askar Askarov has a win over Tim Elliott as well. Yeah, it's gonna be a close one. If Askar Askarov can keep this on the feet, I definitely think he should have this unanimous decision. But maybe there's definitely a lot of value in the underdog Brandon Royval in this one because I do think that submission threat is always there. His striking on his stand up though, compared to Askar Askarov's though, I'm not quite sure if that'll be enough to get him the win in this one. So yeah, that being said, for this one, you can put me down for the betting favorite Askar Askarov by unanimous decision.
Man, you were thinking right up my alley there, Jose. The only other person to bring Brandon Royval, at least in the UFC, to decision is Rogerio Bontorin. And earlier this year, man, that was a split decision fight too. That was really close. And I could see this going in a similar direction. I don't think Royval is going to be able to submit Askarov. He might get some ground time. He might make a couple submission attempts, but I just don't think he's going to get it done. And if this kind of just becomes a game of not giving up wrist control and stuff on the ground, I totally agree that it would just go to decision. And at that point, who had the more meaningful strikes before they were in the clinch and stuff like that? Of course, it's up to the judges from there. So I don't know, man. In that situation, I want to be on Askarov's side as well. So I'm definitely going to be picking Askarov for this fight. He's minus 250. So I don't. I mean, I'll definitely put a bet on him because of this. To me, it's a more safe bet. But the fact that it's minus 250 does seem a little bit like undervalued. I think it's going to be way closer. You're going to be watching this thinking I paid minus 250 for this because Royval is truly a dog. And it's going to be fascinating to see Askarov get pushed to the limit in 2 straight fights. The UFC is not letting him off the hook after losing, and we'll see how this goes. But for me, I am agreeing with you, Jose. I'll go Askarov by decision here. That brings us into the second. It'll be the second fight of the main event here. Jordan Wright fighting Dusko Todorovic at middleweight. Dusko, a familiar face here at Moneyline MMA. Two guys that really like to strike. And we've got Dusko as a betting favorite minus 215 to Jordan Wright's plus 164. Man, both of these guys had so much potential. I mean, Dusko especially. Then he lost to RoboCop and Chidi Niokwani. I still think he's got a lot to bring to the table here. Jordan Wright himself coming off 2 losses. But I don't know, man. These are really good fights these guys are losing. And Jordan Wright is just a madman. Not one of his fights has made it past the second round. And this is just going to be fireworks, Jose.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nick. Jordan Wright, yeah, this guy, looking at him for being the underdog, he should not be looked on to, I guess, kindly like that, I guess, like like not a soft guy too lightly. Yeah, not too lightly because even though he is the Beverly Hills Ninja, he does have a 7.37 significant strike rate, significant strikes landed per minute, and he has a strong karate style. So if he's throwing that many strikes per minute and he's coming at you with a funky style, it shows why he's proven to be dominant and to be a finisher himself. But I do question his chin. When he fought Joaquin Buckley, this was kind of shortly after he came off that spectacular spinning KO, with that spinning KO kick. And he was just kind of coming out there and throwing power bombs and just really just letting it all haymakers no matter what. And Jordan Wright was looking good at times in that fight, but Joaquin Buckley just clipped him and knocked him out. And so if Dusko Totorovic can come in with heavy hands and he can possibly put Jordan Wright out. Again, it hasn't been done much in Jordan Wright's career, but I can see that happening. He does have a reach advantage over Dusko as well. a 3 inch reach advantage, a high significant strike rate. For me personally, Nick, I think I'm gonna have to lean towards the underdog in this one. I mean, Dusko, there's a lot of promise in him. He's a young kid, and like you mentioned, he's fought nothing but killers: Chidi Niokwani, RoboCop, and so that being said, like their losses, they're big names that they've lost to. But in this one, I think Jordan Wright, if he can avoid being knocked out, in just I think he can cruise a victory in this one and win by unanimous decision.
Yeah, no doubt, Jose. I definitely lean the underdog here myself, without a doubt. I think Dusko is a great fighter, and Jordan Wright would concern me in the fact that he can get a little bit wild and he can get a little bit funky, and that's what's led to him getting knocked out a couple times himself. He's 2-4, or I guess 3-4 in the UFC, and every single one of the, no matter if he wins or loses, right? Something he's getting knocked out, or he's knocking someone else out. Except for earlier this year, he got choked out in round 1. So, but I don't think getting choked out is something we're really concerned about here against Dusko. Um, this is just going to be a straight out striking war. We've got a guy, Jordan Wright, who has a 3-inch reach advantage, just general size advantage, and I'd argue a little bit of a strength advantage too. I think Jordan Wright possesses a little bit more strength here and just natural size and ability there. So I don't. This seems like a great spot here to get plus. What was it? Plus 164, man. Ooh, I like it. I'm putting a bet down. Jordan Wright plus 164. You guys might agree with Jose on the win method there. I'm not willing enough to bet on the win method. I think there's multiple ways this could go, and I guess the most likely is to me by KO. I don't see this being the first fight that Jordan Wright goes to decision with. I think both him and Dusko know that this is, I mean, it's opening the main event here, or excuse me, it's the second fight. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but regardless, it's going to be early on still in the card, and I think they're going to be trying to set a standard for the night. I just don't see it going to decision. So if I had to bet, it would be by KO. But I'm just going to be putting my own personal bet on the Jordan Wright, just general win there.
And yeah, there you have it. Both Nick and I for Jordan Wright. And for the next fight of the night, this is the first fight of the night. It is a light heavyweight bout between Alonzo Menifield versus Misha Serkinov. Right now, Alonzo Menifield is the betting favorite at minus 230, while Misha Serkinov is the betting underdog at plus 176. Alonzo Menifield, he was actually our guy. He was our pick when he fought earlier against Askar Mazharov. And that was he completely he was the underdog, I think, when we talked about it, but eventually he became the favorite. But pretty much we called it. He was going to be a freak of nature, just press forward and try to knock him out, and he ended up getting a first round TKO. But before that, he did have a loss to William Knight, lost unanimous decision. On the other hand, Serkinov, he is coming off a 3-fight losing streak. It's not been his luck of the draw, I guess, of lately. Before his last win comes in 2019 against Jimmy Crute. And before that, he also had a loss to Johnny Walker. So, and he's fought some big names earlier, like Volkan Ozdemir, Glover Teixeira, and Patrick Cummings. But a win over Patrick Cummings, again, that was Patrick Cummings towards the end of his career. Not really much saying there. So I think the odds are pretty accurate in this, having Alonzo Menifield be the favorite. What are your thoughts, Nick?
Yeah, man. Atomic Alonzo. I gotta say, I'm gonna continue to ride this guy. He's he's certainly deserving of being the favorite here. Serkinov, he's got a big reputation, right? But he just hasn't. I mean, what are we going to go back to 2016 since he's really had a relevant win? Um, I'm a lot more of a what have you done for me lately when it comes to the UFC. It's awesome to look back and see, experience wise, who guys have fighted or fought. But regardless, we all understand that we're different people. We grow and we change. So a fight from 2016 is not the same. We're not really talking about even the same fighter, in my opinion. A lot changes in the matter of 6 years. It's crazy to say it's been that long. So I'm going off of what we've seen lately off of Misha Serkinov, and it's not good, man. It's really not. He kind of looked pathetic earlier this year, and something looked like he didn't even have like a full like a lot of people were commenting that his left arm like something like looked wrong about it. I personally don't know much about that, but it just seems like he's kind of getting piled on right now. And I'm certainly not going to be the one to swim the other way and pick him because there just does not seem to be going much in his favor. He does like to favor submission wins. I mean, of his last UFC wins, which granted the last UFC win he got wasn't since 2019. The last 5 UFC wins of his were submission wins. I don't see him really being able to take Menifield down. He's very good at staying up and on his feet. So we'll see. I could be wrong on that, but I really definitely heavily lean Menifield here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely going to be, I think, a stand-up fight. Like you said, I think Serkinov's best chance is probably by submission, but Alonzo's rocking an 83% takedown defense. So, like yourself, I'm going with the betting favorite, Alonzo Menifield.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well add Menifield on the parlay as well. It's one of those spots that's it almost seems too good to be true, if I'm being honest. So let's finish this off. Thanks you guys for listening. We have concluded with discussing the main card here. We're just gonna finish off by reminding you guys to subscribe to our channel on YouTube and give us a follow over at Moneyline MMA on Twitter. Every week on Saturday, we will release our best lock, our best underdog, and the best overall parlay. I just wanted to quickly cover the parlay for you guys, at least preemptively. The main parlay for you guys at this point would be a 3-leg between Alexa Grasso, Alonzo Menifield, and Askar Askarov. That 3-leg parlay gets you plus 194, and that's what's going to currently be endorsed by Moneyline MMA. Of course, subject to change. Give our Twitter a check on Saturday afternoon before the main event starts to get our final say. But otherwise, thanks you guys for listening, and tune in next week.